Welcome into NBA Now by Chat Sports. I'm Chase Senior. Appreciate all of you for rocking and rolling with us and making today's show a part of your day. It's presented to you by our friends at Aura, the all-in-one digital safety tool that can keep you and your family safe. You can start your free 14-day free trial by going to aura.com/chatsports. That link is available for you in the comment section and the description of this video. On the show today, it's day 4 of NBA free agency, so we're going to do an updated look at winners and losers. We start off with the Boston Celtics. On day 1, they were somewhat silent. And then on day 2, they made a lot of moves. And I think Brad Stevens, over the last calendar plus year, has made some really nice moves for Boston, putting them in a position to compete for an NBA championship last year, but going into this upcoming season in 2022-2023, once again, making them one of the title favorites. So I love this deal for Malcon Brogdon. The Celtics, it became apparent to me that Marcus Smart, just not that prototypical point guard. In Malcon Brogdon, you get it with the guy who can put the ball on the floor. He can create for himself, score at all 3 levels. He's a good passer. He's also a really good defensive player, but also it allows everybody to get open shot looks on a team that has a bunch of offensive really good players. And he didn't give up anything to bring in one of the better point guards in the NBA for a pretty affordable salary. Basically, all you had to do was part ways with a 2023 first-round pick. I also like the value of what they did with Danilo Gallinari after he was essentially let go by the San Antonio Spurs after he was included in that DeJounte Murray trade. Danilo Gallinari is a sniper from the outside who's played in a bunch of big playoff games over time. 2 years, $13 million for Danilo Gallinari. That is a steal. I think it's one of the best value deals so far in free agency. Luke Cornett off the back end of the bench. Don't expect him to really do much, but it's Gallinari and it's Brogdon for a team that's already stacked. Boston Celtics a clear winner through 4 days of NBA free agency. Do you think they're the biggest winner? If so, let me know in the comment section right now. If you think it's another team outside of the Boston Celtics, let me know the biggest winner from free agency thus far. Free agency winner number 2, Portland Trail Blazers. They've been able to hold on to Damian Lillard. They've been able to keep him safe. He has not demanded a trade. He's going to be back 100% healthy, and this roster is going to be fascinating. One of the deeper defensive rosters in the Western Conference, in a conference that they need wing defenders to go up against some of these marquee wings and guards. They now have those wing defenders. So Anthony Simons comes back. He's one of the best young upstart players in the league. $25 million per year for Simons, as he might be coming in off the bench, a little bit expensive. But when Dame was out, he was sensational. He earned that payday. As for Gary Payton II, led the NBA last year in steals per 36 minutes. He can guard all 5 positions. There was a couple of times last year in which he blocked the Joker a couple of times. Throughout the NBA Finals, I thought he did good work on Jaylen Brown as well as Jason Tatum. He can lock down some premier wing offensive players, gets a little bit more than $9 million per year for a former journeyman. Really good guy who can also succeed in transition. Nurkic, 4 years, 70, a little bit expensive for me. And then Drew Eubanks, 1-year deal. I also want to throw in Jeremy Grant. On top of Gary Payton II, you now have 2 premier wing defenders in Gary Payton II as well as Jeremy Grant. That was that trade with the Detroit Pistons. Blazers received Grant, who can also do some work offensively, as well as a second-round pick. Pistons receive a second-round pick, 36 overall, and a 2025 first-round pick. Minnesota Timberwolves, also a winner. I'm not sure if the front court pairing of Karl Anthony Towns and Rudy Gobert is going to work. I have questions offensively. My big looming question for Minnesota, are both of those guys going to be on the floor in crunch time at the end of the game? I'm really not sure. Defensively, though, it makes the Timberwolves tantalizing. Why I also have them as a winner, just being aggressive this offseason, going all in, and for a franchise that beyond last year has been pretty much dormant for a really long time, Minnesota Timberwolves making a play, and that young core right now. Anthony Edwards, one of the best young players in the league. Karl Anthony Towns, very solid. Rudy Gobert, that roster very interesting. Also an addition of a do-it-all type of player who makes winning plays in Kyle Anderson. 2 years, $18 million for him. Then you get a really good shooter in Bryn Forbes as well, who can kind of camp out around the arc and space the floor. As I said off the top of the show, today's show presented to you by our friends at Aura, the all-in-one digital safety tool. What's really cool is At times, I've had my bank account, my debit cards get hacked, and I get alerted right away, and Aura does a great job of that. They send near real-time alerts on suspicious credit inquiries, and right now you can get a free 14-day free trial if you plug in that link at the bottom of your screen. It's aura.com/chatsports. They give you this notification if you download the app. Hi. Enter your name. You've got 5 new alerts, and you can get those push notifications to see if your identity got stolen or if your bank account got hacked. And this happens to millions of people per year. Just don't even worry about even going through something like that and sign up with Aura today. Another free agency winner, it's the NBA champions from 2 years ago, the Milwaukee Bucks. If it wasn't for Chris Middleton going down, do the Bucks win that second round series that lasted 7 games without Middleton against the Boston Celtics? Maybe. And I also like the makeup of this roster. They have the best player in the NBA in Giannis, and they brought a lot of familiar faces back. That adds to the depth, versatility, offensive and defensive ends of the floor for Milwaukee. Bobby Portis, 4 years, 49. Man, he's really rehabilitated his image over time and has become a very valuable championship piece. I absolutely love the signing of Joe Ingles. He's going to have so many opportunities to let it fly from deep, and he's going to be open. I think he's due for a season in which he knocks down about 40% of his threes. He can also really pass from the high post. Wesley Matthews, 1-year deal. The Javon Carter, a 2-year deal. Those guys adding to the depth for Milwaukee. I expect them to compete for a championship this upcoming season. Last winner, everybody who secured the bag with some of these rookie max contract extensions, from Ja Morant to Darius Garland, Zion Williamson. Devin Booker got another extension as well, although that wasn't one of those rookie extensions. Karl Anthony Towns got the bag as well. To all of those players who have improved, who have gotten the bag, Jokic getting the best and largest deal of all time, shout out to y'all for taking care of business, putting in the work to put yourself in a position where you could get paid some big-time bucks. So that does it for our winners. Before we get to our losers, who was the best signing so far in free agency? It can be value. It can be splash signing. Let me know right now in the comment section. Free agency losers. Brooklyn Nets have to be a loser. Couple years ago, they're thinking, oh, we got Kevin Durant, we got Kyrie Irving. Last year, they traded for James Harden. All in the span of a couple of years, that is all dissipated. It is all crumbled, and now the Brooklyn Nets are in shambles. KD wants out. If he gets traded, Kyrie, I can't imagine, is coming back. They traded for Ben Simmons. He hasn't played basketball in more than a year. Is he going to be the guy that you build around, or is it going to be around a package once you trade KD? Anytime you trade away one of the best players of all time, like Kevin Durant, it's a loss. That's why the Nets are losers. As for what they've done in free agency, these moves make sense if you have KD and Kyrie on the roster, but not sure that's going to happen. Patty Mills as well as Nicholas Claxton. Free agency loser number 2, who is the biggest loser of this entire free agency period. It's Miles Bridges. For him, allegedly beating up his wife, which is just egregious, and his future in the NBA is now in doubt. For it to also happen on the eve of NBA free agency, when there were so many reports about the Charlotte Hornets being willing to pay him $25 to $30 million as a restricted free agent, meaning other teams could have offered him the bag, and Charlotte was willing to match any offer, he could have been set up for the rest of his life. He could have had generational money. And for Miles Bridges, the player, I have to give him credit because the development that's taken place, how he's been able to grow is so impressive. But for him to allegedly beat up his wife like that, for her to post those pictures, it's an ugly situation all around. And then for him to cost himself money, he now overtakes Dennis Schroeder as a guy who just blew it for himself. Toronto Raptors, also a free agency loser. Now let me say this about Toronto. Appreciate their fan base. I think Nick Nurse, one of the best coaches in the league. Masai Ujiri might be the best executive, but I think there's been some overpays here. And I've been a little bit confounded as to what their direction is. I like Otto Porter Jr. We'll see what the details are in terms of how much money he's getting paid. But Thaddeus Young, $8 million per year, fully guaranteed contract for Chris Boucher at $35 million. The Raptors are one of the better young and up-and-coming teams in the NBA. It didn't take them a while to retool after losing Kawhi Leonard, after winning the championship in 2019. That's a byproduct of them being a great organization. I just thought they could have made some other moves, like maybe trading for Rudy Gobert, bringing in some other players. If they trade OG Anunoby, we'll see what happens on that front. But Raptors, free agency losers in my eyes. If you disagree with me, let me know why in the comments section. Make sure you subscribe to us here at Chat Sports. We've been live for all 4 days of NBA free agency, and we're going to continue to pump out the best NBA content, not just during draft time and free agency, as this point of the offseason is so fabulous and entertaining. All year round, though, we got you covered. It's youtube.com/chatsportstv. Last free agency loser, Dallas Mavericks. You know, they lose Jalen Brunson, and that's a huge loss for the Mavericks to lose a player of that caliber. After one, Donnie Nelson could have given him that extra year originally, and then last year, they didn't envision him becoming the player that he ended up being and rounding into, and they could have gotten him for about $65 million. But the New York Knicks, they make a bevy of moves to lure Brunson to New York. They hired his dad as an assistant coach. Leon Rose, who's heading basketball operations, was Jalen Brunson's dad's, Rick's, first agent. And now Leon Rose's son, I believe, is representing Jalen Brunson, and they've done some nice things on this roster in order to bring in some good pieces to surround Brunson. And 4 years, 104, I think it's a pretty good deal for New York and Brunson. But for the Mavericks to lose him, considering they got him in the second round, they pinpointed him as a sleeper prospect, as a guy who won 2 national championships at Nova. He was the second best player on a team that made it to the Western Conference Finals. You had him in-house. You could have offered him a deal. Before that, you could have offered him that extra year where he wouldn't have hit free agency. The Mavericks blew it on that front. Now, I do have to be complimentary of them because I do like the acquisition of JaVale McGee. Theo Pinson, we'll see if he even cracks the roster. But McGee, 3 years, $20 million at a position of importance. That was a big move for the Dallas Mavericks. So there you go. Winners and losers through 4 days of NBA free agency. Here are your winners right here. Boston Celtics, Portland Trail Blazers, Minnesota Timberwolves, Milwaukee Bucks, and everybody who secured the bag, whether it be an extension, whether it be a new contract, whether it be some of those rookie deals as well. And then the free agency losers, bang, bang, right here, Brooklyn Nets, Miles Bridges for just being an idiot, Toronto Raptors, and the Dallas Mavericks. That right there, your free agency winners and losers. Appreciate all of you for tuning into this segment. Make sure you subscribe and shout out your favorite team and then grade their moves on a scale of A, B, C, D, or F, and you can grade my list as well.